live in an age where the self is constantly being hijacked by media, by comparison, by noise. From the moment you wake up, your mind is pulled in 1,000 directions. Your phone buzzes with notifications. Social media floods you with filtered illusions of other people's lives. Algorithms tailor your reality into a constant stream of distraction. You're encouraged, no, conditioned, to watch others, to want what they have, to compete, compare, and conform. Slowly, subtly, you begin to drift from yourself. Your thoughts are no longer yours. Your desires, aspirations, your very sense of worth all start to orbit the gravitational pull of the external world. This is not freedom. This is spiritual erosion. Now more than ever, the Stoic ideal of turning inward isn't just relevant, it's revolutionary. Ancient Stoicism, born in the chaos of collapsing empires and inner conflict, teaches something most of us have forgotten. You are most powerful, most creative, most fulfilled, not when you chase the world, but when you return fully to yourself. Not in selfishness, but in self-mastery. Not in isolation, but in internal alignment. To focus solely on yourself in the Stoic sense is not to ignore others, but to reclaim your responsibility over what is yours, your thoughts, your responses, your virtues, your purpose. It is to build such an unshakable mind that the noise of the world becomes background, static, to the symphony of your character. This isn't about ego. It's about clarity. The ancient Stoics knew that every wasted moment on things outside your control steals from the one project that truly matters, the shaping of your soul. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Epictetus taught that true freedom comes not from doing whatever you want, but from wanting only what is good, just, and within your nature. The path we're about to walk is not easy, but it's the only one worth walking. The rules that follow are more than principles. They are weapons against distraction, antidotes to confusion, and keys to inner liberation. Applied with discipline, they will transform you, not overnight, but irrevocably. You will feel yourself returning to your core. You will begin to hear your own voice again, unfiltered by the expectations of others. You will rise, not through the chase of applause or validation, but through the slow, steady process of becoming who you were always meant to be. This is the 1000% growth mindset, not built on hype, but on the granite foundation of ancient wisdom. Now, let's begin. Step 1. Cut off the external noise. In our modern world, distractions are everywhere. The moment we wake up, we're bombarded with notifications from our phones, demands from coworkers or family members, the chatter of social media, and a cacophony of external inputs vying for our attention. This relentless noise, both physical and mental, often leads to scattered thoughts, diminished focus, and ultimately a loss of connection with our most important asset, ourselves. The first step in embracing the Stoic path to focusing solely on yourself is learning to cut off the external noise. This does not merely mean turning off your phone or muting social media. It is about actively reclaiming your mind from the whirlwind of external stimuli that relentlessly pull you in every direction. You must recognize that the mind can only serve one master at a time: focus or distraction. In Stoicism, one of the core teachings is the idea of autarkia, or self-sufficiency. A key element of self-sufficiency is an undistracted, uncluttered mind. It is in moments of solitude and stillness that you are able to hear your inner voice, the one that is not influenced by the approval or rejection of others, by the rush of the world, or by the never-ending cycle of news and drama. Without the noise, you can listen to your own needs, desires, and ambitions, unhindered by the expectations of society. The value of silence. Silence is not merely the absence of noise, but the presence of clarity. In a world where we are taught to constantly do something, silence is viewed with suspicion. It is often considered unproductive, a waste of time. Yet, for those who understand its value, silence becomes the fertile ground for true growth. In silence, you are able to hear yourself think, to ask the difficult questions, to challenge the assumptions you carry about yourself and the world. In the silence, there is also a deeper connection to the present moment. We are often told that success is about moving faster, achieving more, and always striving. But what if true progress doesn't lie in doing more, but in doing less, with greater intention and focus? To focus on yourself means to create a space where you can hear the answers to the questions that matter. What do you want? What do you need? Who are you becoming in the process? These questions cannot be answered if you're constantly distracted by external inputs. Practical steps to cut off the noise. Designate no input zones. Create specific times and spaces in your life where no external inputs are allowed. This could mean establishing a no screen rule for the first hour of your day to allow your mind to settle before it becomes cluttered with the demands of the world. It could also mean designing a digital detox day where you disconnect from social media, the news, and even work emails to focus purely on your own thoughts and internal growth. Limit social media consumption. Social media is one of the greatest contributors to external noise in the modern world. It creates a cycle of comparison, approval-seeking, and distraction. To truly focus on yourself, you must break free from the habitual scrolling. You may not be able to eliminate it entirely, but you can limit the time you spend on these platforms and, more importantly, carefully curate the accounts and content you follow. Opt for inspiration, learning, and meaningful connections rather than mindless scrolling and external validation. Embrace solitude and reflection. In Stoic philosophy, solitude is viewed as an essential practice for self-mastery. It is in these quiet moments that we confront our most honest selves. Solitude allows for reflection, and reflection fosters clarity. Whether it's a walk in nature, a quiet afternoon with a journal, or simply sitting in stillness, make it a habit to retreat into solitude regularly. Mindful consumption of information. Pay attention to what you consume, not just in terms of food, but in terms of knowledge and entertainment. Ask yourself, what value does this add to my life? Is this nourishing my mind or polluting it? If you're feeding your mind with content that doesn't serve your growth, cut it out. Replace it with material that encourages deeper thinking, learning, and introspection. Practice. Meditation. Meditation is a powerful tool in cutting through the noise of the world. It trains you to sit with your thoughts without judgment, to witness the mind without getting swept away by it. Through meditation, you can learn to return to silence, not as an absence of noise, but as a place of inner peace and clarity. The first step to 1000% growth. Cutting off external noise isn't merely about avoiding distractions. It's about creating a fertile space where you can focus solely on yourself, your growth, and your development. As you begin to reduce the noise in your life, you'll notice something profound. Your mind will begin to clear. You'll gain a new level of awareness of your desires, your goals, and your emotions. Most importantly, you'll begin to realize that the key to true growth is not outside of you, but within. It is in the space that noise once occupied that you will discover the clarity necessary for focusing on yourself and achieving the growth you seek. This is the foundational step. Without it, the rest of the Stoic rules to focus solely on yourself would be in vain. The noise of the world is a constant barrage on your mental and emotional state, and it will continue to draw you away from what truly matters, your own development and peace of mind. In the next steps, we'll delve deeper into how to solidify this focus and integrate it into every aspect of your life. But first, you must commit to cutting off the noise. Only when you've quieted the external distractions can you begin the deep, focused work of self-mastery and growth. Step 2. Own your morning, own your mind. The morning sets the tone for the entire day. For many, the early hours are a time of chaos, rushing to get ready for work, checking emails, scanning through social media, or falling prey to the onslaught of notifications that demand immediate attention. But in Stoicism, there is a profound truth. How you begin your day dictates how you will navigate the rest of it. If you fail to take control of the morning, the day can quickly slip away from you, with your mind drifting from one distraction to the next at the mercy of external forces. In this second step, the Stoic principle is simple yet powerful. Take full responsibility for your morning routine, for in doing so, you set the foundation for a day filled with clarity, focus, and intentional growth. When you own your morning, you take ownership of your mind, your goals, and your intentions. The first hour of the day is sacred. It is your chance to shape the way you engage with the world, your mind, and your actions. While others may wake up and immediately react to external stimuli, whether it's their boss's email, social media notifications, or the pressure of daily tasks, you can choose a different path. The Stoics understood that your morning sets the momentum for your entire day. Marcus Aurelius in his Meditations frequently emphasized the importance of controlling your thoughts from the moment you wake up. He was aware that the mind is most malleable in the early hours, which is why he advocated for reflection, gratitude, and mental clarity at the start of the day. The Stoics didn't rush into the noise. Instead, they made the conscious decision to establish their thoughts and mindset before engaging with the world. It is not merely about waking up early, it is about waking up with purpose and intention. Own your morning and you own your mind. When you are the one directing your thoughts, actions, and intentions from the very moment your feet hit the ground, you are already miles ahead of the average person who surrenders their mind to the world. There's a saying, how you do one thing is how you do everything. This can be expanded to, how you start your day is how you live your life. If your morning is filled with chaos, it is very likely that your entire day will follow suit. The early hours are a reflection of your mental discipline and self-mastery. A chaotic morning leads to a scattered mind, which can lead to a fragmented, unfocused day. But when you structure your mornings with purpose and intention, your mind remains aligned, focused, and centered throughout the day. By owning your morning, you train yourself to respond rather than react. You give yourself the mental space to decide what truly matters, what you want to prioritize, and how you want to show up in the world. The decision to own your morning isn't just about productivity. It's about ensuring that your mind is in the driver's seat, not your environment or external circumstances. The Stoic approach is about self-discipline and taking full accountability for how you engage with life's challenges. Wake up early. The first decision to make is to wake up early. Early rising is a Stoic practice because it allows you to take advantage of the quiet hours when the world is still and the distractions are few. Early risers often experience less mental clutter because the external world is not yet in full motion. This is your time to connect with yourself before the demands of the day arise. But don't just wake up early and dive straight into your day. Use this time as a gift. In this space, you have the opportunity to think, reflect, and align yourself with your highest purpose. If you are accustomed to waking up late or hitting the snooze button multiple times, it will take time to adjust, but the benefits of waking up early, peace, clarity, and control are undeniable. The moment you wake up, take a few deep breaths and ground yourself in gratitude. Begin by thinking about 3 things you're grateful for, no matter how small they may seem. Gratitude is a powerful tool because it shifts your focus from what's lacking in your life to what's abundant. This change in perspective can immediately enhance your mood and mental clarity. After reflecting on gratitude, take a few moments to set your intentions for the day. What is it that you want to focus on? What do you hope to achieve emotionally and mentally by the end of the day? Setting your intention in the morning aligns your mind and directs your actions toward your purpose. You're not merely reacting to life, you're responding with deliberate thought. The Stoics often place great value on physical health, recognizing that a healthy body contributes to a strong mind. By incorporating some form of movement into your morning routine, you awaken your body and stimulate mental clarity. This doesn't necessarily mean going for a 5-mile run, but it does mean engaging in activities that promote circulation, increase energy, and clear the mind. Whether it's yoga, stretching, a quick workout, or even a morning walk, physical movement sets the tone for a productive and energetic day. Meditation is a practice that the Stoics would have appreciated if they had access to it, and it's one that modern Stoics make use of in their pursuit of mental clarity. A short, focused meditation session in the morning can help you center your thoughts, reduce anxiety, and cultivate a deep sense of presence. Whether through breathwork, visualization, or simply sitting in stillness, meditation allows you to control your thoughts and emotions rather than letting them control you. Start small. 5 to 10 minutes is all it takes. In this time, silence the noise, become present, and settle into a state of calm. This practice is particularly powerful because it teaches you how to remain calm in the face of external stress. By incorporating mindfulness into your morning, you increase your capacity to deal with challenges in a balanced and rational way throughout the day. To nurture the mind, start your morning by engaging with some form of intellectual or philosophical content. This could be a passage from Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, a quote from Seneca, or a chapter from a modern Stoic book. Consuming content that aligns with your values helps to prime your mind for the day ahead. It not only strengthens your inner resolve, but also serves as a reminder to stay true to your principle. Reading Stoic philosophy or any other form of uplifting literature sets the tone for the day. You begin the day with ideas that challenge and inspire you, rather than falling into the trap of mindless scrolling or passive consumption. After your morning ritual, take a few minutes to plan your day. This doesn't have to be an exhaustive schedule, but it should include the most important priorities for the day. Make sure that these priorities are aligned with your long-term goals and your personal values. By planning your day intentionally, you ensure that you are directing your energy toward things that matter and are not drifting aimlessly through a sea of distraction. The most crucial aspect of owning your morning is consistency. It's not enough to have one productive, focused morning and then let things slide. To truly own your morning is to make it a habit, to ensure that each day begins with the same ritual of reflection, intention, and discipline. When you consistently own your morning, your mindset shifts. It's no longer about trying to catch up with life, but rather about living it intentionally and in alignment with your personal value. By making your morning sacred, you've already established a strong foundation for your day. And when you control your mornings, you begin to control the outcomes of your day and your life. Step 3. Focus on what you can control, ruthlessly. If you were to distill every fragment of Stoic wisdom into a single piercing insight, one truth so elemental and so transformative that it could rewrite the very architecture of how you experience reality, it would be this: you only ever control your thoughts, your choices, and your actions. That's it. Everything else is illusion. Everything else is fog. And the moment you finally confront that fact, not just understand it intellectually, but feel it in your bones, is the moment your true life begins. Yet most people will never reach this point. Why? Because they are addicted to the illusion of control. They believe on some unconscious level that if they just try harder, speak louder, care more, manipulate better, then maybe they can bend the world to their will. They will spend decades obsessing over what others think of them, chasing approval, raging against unfairness, fearing rejection, wishing things were different, and never once realize that all of that energy is leaking into things they were never meant to command. The Stoic does not fall into that trap. The Stoic begins every day with a single principle, etched into the heart like a sword. Is this within my control? That is the filter. That is the lens through which everything is judged. And if the answer is no, if it lies in the realm of randomness, fate, other people's behavior, natural events, death, decay, time, then it is treated with emotional detachment, not despair. It is not resented, feared, or fought against. It is accepted, and the Stoic moves on. Not with passivity, but with radical clarity. Because that detachment is not indifference. It is the foundation of peace. To the modern mind, this sounds cold. How can you not care about the things that hurt you? How can you detach from people you love? How can you live in a world and not react to its injustice? The answer is that you do care, but you channel that care like a laser. You don't throw your emotions into the abyss. You don't scream at the storm. You build a roof. You don't argue with the ocean. You learn to sail. Your energy is sacred, and the Stoic understands that wasting it on the uncontrollable is not noble. It is weakness disguised as virtue. This rule, to ruthlessly focus only on what you control, is not just philosophical advice. It is a battle ethic. It is how warriors are trained to remain calm under fire. It is how leaders act under chaos. It is how you become immune to manipulation, distraction, and emotional sabotage. In a world where everyone is reactive, where outrage is currency and victimhood is a lifestyle, the Stoic operates differently. Not out of arrogance, but because they have seen the cost of scattering their soul across a battlefield they can never win. Imagine your mind like a fortress. There are gates, and inside those gates lie only the things you own. Your mindset, your beliefs, your character, your habits. Outside those gates is everything else. Opinions, algorithms, gossip, fame, disaster, betrayal, weather, traffic, disease, death. Now imagine that every time you get angry at a rude stranger or panic about a news story or obsess over why someone ghosted you, you are opening those gates and handing over your power. That is what most people do every single day. They hemorrhage strength into things they don't control and then wonder why they feel exhausted, broken, lost. The Stoic keeps the gates shut. Instead, they ask, what can I actually do right now? What is my role, my duty, my response? If it is raining, they carry an umbrella. If someone insults them, they examine whether the words are true. If not, they let them go. If the market crashes, they manage their response, not the market. This discipline may seem small, but it is world-changing. Because while everyone else is spiraling in a storm of emotion, the Stoic remains grounded. And from that grounded place, real action can occur. Not reactivity, but response. Not panic, but strategy. When you begin to live this way, ruthlessly filtering every event through the question, is this within my control? Your mind starts to recalibrate. You begin to reclaim bandwidth. You stop chasing shadows. You feel lighter, more centered, more whole. And eventually, you realize something shocking. You were never supposed to control the world. You were only ever meant to master yourself within it. That is the real power. That is what makes you unstoppable. This whole focus, this Stoic tunnel vision, doesn't make you blind to others. It actually sharpens your empathy. Because instead of being pulled emotionally in every direction, you can be present. You can listen without attachment. You can offer help without ego. You can give without expectation. You become a rock in a river. The currents flow around you, but they don't drag you under. This is how you create the 1000% growth mindset. By aiming your entire being at the things you control and releasing everything else like dead weight. Your mind becomes a weapon. Your habits become armor. Your presence becomes power. You stop living in fear of the uncontrollable and instead dominate your domain, your inner world. Because that is the only kingdom you were born to rule. And once you master it, nothing can shake you. Step 4. Define your inner code of conduct. There is no fortress more secure than a mind governed by a code. Not by impulse, not by fashion, not by the chaos of public opinion, but by a deeply personal, immovable code of conduct that acts as both compass and anchor. If the Stoic path is a discipline of inner sovereignty, then your code is the law by which that inner republic is ruled. We live in an age where external rules are shouted from all directions. Algorithms dictate how we should speak, ads dictate what we should want, outrage dictates what we should condemn. Social norms shift like sand under our feet. Morality is gamified, integrity is often traded for convenience. In this world, people do not live by principles, they live by moods. And a life governed by mood is a life always on the verge of collapse. But the Stoic is different. The Stoic understands that if you do not decide what you stand for, the world will do it for you. You will be sculpted by trends. You will be pulled by the mob. You will wake up one day and realize your life was not yours. It was a series of reactions to other people's noise. This is why defining your inner code of conduct is not optional. It is not a luxury, it is essential. Without it, there is no clarity. Without it, your energy scatters. You do what feels good instead of what is right. You chase validation instead of purpose. You speak out of fear instead of conviction. And eventually you forget who you are. So what is a code of conduct? It is not just a list of rules, it is a vow. It is a sacred architecture of values that define how you respond to life, especially when it gets hard. It's the internal constitution that governs your behavior when no one is watching. When it would be easier to lie, do you tell the truth? When it would be convenient to betray a promise, do you keep it? When the crowd cheers for cruelty, do you stand alone in kindness? These are not surface decisions. These are decisions that define the shape of your soul. Your code of conduct should be simple but unshakable. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, kept his private journal filled with reminders: be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. These weren't slogans, they were commandments he held himself to. Even as the most powerful man in the world, he knew that status meant nothing without self-mastery. That power without virtue was corruption. That stoicism was not a set of beliefs, but a set of practices, repeated daily, no matter how tired, how hurt, how misunderstood. So, how do you build your code? You begin by asking, what do I stand for, no matter the cost? Do I tell the truth, even if it's uncomfortable? Do I honor my word even when it's inconvenient? Do I treat others with dignity even if they don't return it? Do I act with discipline even when no one is watching? Do I value wisdom more than reputation? Courage more than comfort? Growth more than ease? Each of these questions becomes a clause in your personal constitution, and from these clauses you form a rule book, not for others but for yourself. This code becomes your armor, your mirror, your measuring stick. It's what you return to when the world confuses you, when temptation whispers, when everything around you screams for compromise. But defining the code is only half the task. The real work is living by it. That's where the battle begins. Because your code will be tested daily. You'll be mocked for your honesty. You'll be pressured to take shortcuts. You'll be tempted by ego, lust, pride, comfort. People will offer you rewards for bending your values and threaten you with loneliness or rejection if you don't. But this is where the Stoic shines, because to the Stoic, the cost of breaking their code is greater than any external punishment. There is no worse pain than self-betrayal. No failure cuts deeper than knowing you became someone you once swore not to be. But the opposite is also true. When you uphold your code in the face of pressure, when you choose truth over applause, character over comfort, self-respect over short-term gain, something begins to build inside you. A kind of unshakable weight, a gravity. People can sense it. They may not agree with you, but they will feel that you are real, that you are rooted, that you are not for sale. That is the foundation of an unstoppable mind, because now every choice you make aligns with your core. There is no mental fog. No anxiety over image, no regret from betrayal. You move through life clean. You sleep with peace. You speak with strength because you know who you are. Even when others misunderstand you, especially when they misunderstand you, your code becomes the rope you cling to. It doesn't make life easier, but it makes you stronger. And the stronger you are, the more you rise. Defining your inner code is not about being perfect. It's about aiming upward. It's about refusing to drift. It's about creating a set of internal laws so clear and personal that no matter what happens outside of you, betrayal, chaos, fame, failure, you still know how to act. That's what it means to focus solely on yourself. Not in selfishness, but in sovereignty. Can't be the king. You become your own ruler. You become your own judge. You become your own master. Step 5. Practice the art of deliberate solitude. In a world that bombards us with constant noise, pings, posts, reactions, obligations, solitude has become a lost art. We live in the loudest era in human history, where silence is not only rare but almost feared. People fill every moment with stimulation, music in the background, podcasts while walking, notifications every minute, opinions shouted at us before we've even formed our own. And in the midst of all this, something sacred is quietly suffocating: the relationship with oneself. To focus solely on yourself, to grow in the way Stoicism demands, you must learn to reclaim solitude, not accidental loneliness, not isolation as an escape, but deliberate solitude. Solitude as a ritual, solitude as a sharpening stone, solitude as a sacred appointment with your inner world. The Stoics did not fear being alone, they sought it. Epictetus reminded his students, "You are a soul carrying a corpse." a blunt but profound reminder to return inward. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of the known world, would write to himself in his journal, "In the quiet of dawn, about life, death, time, pain, desire, and virtue." These writings weren't meant for anyone else. They were acts of inner hygiene. In solitude, he wasn't the emperor. He was just a man trying to live rightly. And that's what solitude gives us: perspective. When you're alone with no distractions, all the masks fall off. You can't impress anyone. You can't perform. There's no audience to flatter. There's just you and the truth. Who you are, what you're avoiding, what's been festering under the surface, what you're pretending not to feel. In that space, everything false starts to fall away. This is terrifying to some, because silence exposes you, but it also liberates you. In deliberate solitude, you start to see the patterns of your thoughts. You notice which ideas uplift you and which ones corrode you. You learn the difference between your true desires and the noise you've absorbed from others. You hear your fears more clearly, not to be paralyzed by them, but to finally face them. Most people never do this. They're too busy numbing themselves. But the Stoic understands, if you don't make time to be alone, you will never know who you are. And if you don't know who you are, you'll never know what you're truly capable of. Deliberate solitude is not antisocial, it's pre-social. It's where you reconnect with yourself before re-entering the world. It's the sharpening of your sword before stepping back into battle. You cannot give your best if you are disconnected from your core. You cannot lead, love, or create clearly if your soul is buried under a pile of other people's expectations. Solitude allows you to hear the quiet voice beneath the chaos, your conscience, your deeper wisdom. That voice doesn't shout, it whispers, and you must be silent to hear it. So how do you practice this art? You begin by carving out intentional space in your life. This doesn't require disappearing into the mountains, though it could. It might mean waking an hour earlier, turning off your phone for an evening, taking a long walk with no devices, sitting in a park with a journal. The point isn't the setting, it's the deliberateness. You are saying to yourself, I matter enough to be alone with. You are declaring your inner world sacred. During this time, listen. Ask yourself honest questions. What am I running from? What pain am I avoiding? What do I truly want right now? What am I pretending not to know? Let whatever surfaces surface. Don't judge it, observe it, learn from it. In that quiet, you'll start to find clarity that no podcast or productivity hack can provide. And over time, solitude becomes not a place you fear, but a place you crave. It becomes your lab for inner experimentation, your temple for self-renewal, your battlefield for wrestling with your weaknesses, and your wellspring for strength. Most people fear solitude because they confuse it with loneliness, but they are not the same. Loneliness is a lack of connection. Solitude is a presence with oneself. One is hunger, the other is nourishment. To practice deliberate solitude is to step outside the current of the world and then return stronger, clearer, lighter. And this is how you grow by 1000%. Not through hustle porn, not through shouting on the internet, but through deep, quiet, intentional time with yourself, until your inner clarity becomes louder than the world's noise. Step 6. Let go of the need for recognition. One of the most insidious distractions on the path to growth is the relentless pursuit of recognition. From childhood onward, we are conditioned to seek validation from those around us. It starts with simple affirmations for compassion or praise from our parents, teachers, or peers. And over time, the need for external recognition grows stronger. As we move into adulthood, this craving for acknowledgement from the world becomes deeply ingrained. We base our self-worth on the applause of others, believing that their approval defines our value. Yet the Stoics understood a vital truth that most people overlook. External validation is fleeting, unreliable, and ultimately irrelevant to our true sense of self-worth. When you begin living solely for recognition, your focus shifts from authentic growth to the appearance of growth. This shift creates a facade, a carefully crafted image of who you want others to think you are, rather than a true reflection of who you are. Your sense of worth becomes tied to the opinions and applause of others, and this constant need for external validation keeps you locked in a cycle of self-doubt and insecurity. No matter how much praise you receive, there will always be another benchmark to reach, another standard to meet. The attention you once craved will eventually fade, leaving you with the hollow feeling of having worked tirelessly for something that was never yours to own. The Stoics called this external dependency a form of enslavement. It chains you to the whims of others. In contrast, true freedom arises when we stop seeking validation outside ourselves and instead turn inward. The Stoics were not advocating for a life of isolation or complete indifference to the opinions of others. Rather, they proposed a life where the opinions of others no longer dictate our actions or thoughts. Recognition should not be the motivation behind what we do. Instead, our motivation should come from a deep personal alignment with our own principles, values, and goals. By letting go of the need for recognition, we free ourselves from the anxiety of managing others' perceptions and allow ourselves to grow authentically. One of the greatest gifts of letting go of recognition is the space it creates for real, sustainable growth. Without the need to perform for others, you can finally focus on what truly matters, honing your skills, deepening your understanding, and living in accordance with your deepest values. This shift of focus leads to more significant progress because you are no longer distracted by the superficiality of external approval. You start living for your own satisfaction and sense of accomplishment, not for the fleeting high of applause. In practice, letting go of recognition can be done by regularly reflecting on the true reasons behind your actions. Before seeking approval or validation, ask yourself if you are doing this to fulfill a genuine passion, a personal goal, or a value you hold dear. By questioning your motivations, you can begin to discern whether you are truly aligned with your purpose or if you are simply performing for external rewards. Additionally, spending time away from the platforms or environments that encourage this need for recognition, such as social media or overly competitive work environments, can be a powerful tool in breaking free from this cycle. Reclaiming your time and energy from the demands of recognition allows you to focus on building something that is rooted in your personal growth rather than the fleeting whims of public opinion. When you stop seeking validation from the world, something remarkable happens. You become empowered. You are no longer at the mercy of external praise or criticism, and this newfound freedom unleashes your potential. The drive to prove yourself fades, and instead you begin to create and grow for your own fulfillment. This is when the 1000% growth mindset truly takes hold, because now you can take bold risks, pursue your passions unapologetically, and build something authentic. Without the constant need for external approval, you free up mental space to focus on what truly matters, and, as a result, your growth accelerates exponentially. In summary, letting go of the need for recognition is one of the most liberating practices you can adopt. It frees you from the shackles of public perception and allows you to focus entirely on your personal development. When you align your actions with your values and let go of the need for applause, you tap into a deeper, more meaningful source of motivation that propels you forward. You no longer need the world's validation to feel fulfilled or worthy. Instead, you become your own source of strength, confidence, and purpose. In doing so, you unlock the potential for growth that is truly limitless. Step 7. Journal your thoughts to sharpen awareness. The act of journaling is one of the most powerful tools for self-discovery and self-improvement. In the fast-paced, distraction-laden world we live in, it's easy to lose touch with ourselves. Our minds are constantly bombarded with external influences, from social media and the news to the expectations of family and peers. In this noise, it becomes increasingly difficult to truly understand who we are, what we want, and what drives us. The Stoics understood this struggle intimately, which is why they emphasized the importance of self-reflection. Journaling in this sense is more than just a habit. It is a means of sharpening one's awareness and cultivating a deeper understanding of the self. Journaling allows you to slow down and process your thoughts, bringing clarity to your emotions and experiences. This practice forces you to confront the most challenging aspects of your inner world, forcing you to wrestle with uncomfortable truths, identify patterns, and uncover the underlying motivations driving your decisions. When you put pen to paper, you give yourself the space to examine your beliefs, values, and goals without the distractions of everyday life. This simple act of writing down your thoughts offers a sense of structure and order, transforming an otherwise chaotic mental state into something tangible, manageable, and introspective. One of the greatest benefits of journaling is its ability to sharpen your self-awareness. We often move through life with little understanding of why we do the things we do or feel the way we feel. Our actions can become habitual, our reactions automated, and our emotions clouded by external factors. But when we write down our thoughts, we're forced to confront them directly. This act of writing requires us to process our experiences and reflect on the deeper meaning behind them. As you journal consistently, you begin to recognize the patterns in your thinking, the habitual ways in which you view the world, the mental shortcuts you take, and the blind spots you may not have noticed before. Over time, this practice sharpens your awareness, enabling you to see your own thoughts and actions with more clarity. The Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, were known for their commitment to journaling. Marcus's personal writings, meditations, were essentially a form of self-reflection, where he would regularly write down his thoughts, doubts, and observations. Through this practice, he gained insight into his own nature, the nature of others, and the nature of the world. In his journal, he confronted his fears, his desires, and his weaknesses, but he also found strength, resilience, and wisdom. For Marcus, journaling was a tool not just for reflection but for growth. It was a way to hone his ability to control his thoughts and emotions and to better understand the principles that governed his actions. Journaling also helps in identifying the mental and emotional blocks that prevent growth. Often, our thoughts are clouded by self-doubt, fear, and confusion. These internal barriers hold us back from pursuing our goals and reaching our potential. By writing about these barriers, we can begin to break them down. For example, if you write about feelings of inadequacy or fear of failure, you may uncover the root cause of these emotions. Is it a fear of judgment from others? A belief that you aren't good enough? Once you bring these thoughts into the light, you can begin to challenge them, question their validity, and reframe them in a healthier, more constructive way. Over time, journaling can help you develop a greater sense of clarity, confidence, and emotional resilience. In addition to sharpening awareness of your inner world, journaling also provides a powerful method for setting goals and tracking progress. It allows you to break down your ambitions into manageable steps and hold yourself accountable for the actions you take toward achieving them. You can use your journal to record your successes and setbacks, reflecting on what worked, what didn't, and how you can improve moving forward. This continuous process of self-reflection and course correction enables you to grow more efficiently as you constantly assess your progress and adjust your approach. Journaling serves as a feedback loop, providing valuable insights that can guide your actions and decisions. Furthermore, journaling gives you the opportunity to practice gratitude, which is essential for cultivating a growth mindset. Every day you can write down the things you are grateful for, no matter how small. This practice helps shift your focus away from what you lack and toward what you already have. It fosters a sense of abundance and positivity, reinforcing the belief that you are capable and deserving of growth. When you focus on gratitude, you begin to view your challenges and setbacks as opportunities for learning and improvement, rather than as insurmountable obstacles. Another significant benefit of journaling is the emotional release it provides. Life can be stressful, overwhelming, and emotionally exhausting, and it's often difficult to process these feelings in real time. Writing about your emotions provides an outlet for expression, helping you to release pent-up frustration, sadness, or anxiety. This release can be incredibly therapeutic, as it allows you to process your emotions in a safe, private space. It also helps you develop emotional intelligence as you become more attuned to your feelings and learn how to manage them effectively. To get started with journaling, it's important to create a routine that works for you. You don't need to write for hours each day. Just a few minutes can be enough to make a significant impact. The key is consistency. Set aside a specific time each day to write, whether it's in the morning to set your intentions for the day or in the evening to reflect on your experiences. If you don't know where to start, ask yourself questions like, what am I feeling right now? What did I learn today? What could I have done differently? Let your thoughts flow freely without judgment or self-criticism. The goal is not to produce a perfect journal entry, but to engage in a process of self-exploration and growth. Over time, you'll begin to notice the subtle but powerful changes that journaling brings. Your awareness will grow sharper, your goals will become clearer, and your sense of self will become more grounded. As your journal becomes a mirror of your inner world, you'll gain a deeper understanding of yourself, your values, and your purpose. You'll also become more equipped to navigate life's challenges with resilience, clarity, and confidence. The simple act of journaling can be a transformative practice that accelerates your personal growth and helps you reach new heights of awareness and self-mastery. Step 8. View every distraction as an enemy of growth. In a world overflowing with distractions, whether it's the incessant ping of notifications, the constant influx of information, or the easy lure of social media, maintaining focus on personal growth has never been more challenging. Yet, if we are to make significant strides in our journey toward mastery, we must adopt a mindset that views distractions not just as annoyances, but as active enemies of progress. Every moment spent diverted from our purpose, every fragment of attention given to unimportant things, is a moment lost in the pursuit of our highest potential. From a Stoic perspective, distractions are akin to forces that divert the mind from its natural state of clarity and rationality. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote extensively about the importance of maintaining focus and not allowing external events or the fleeting whims of the mind to interfere with one's duty or personal development. The Stoic mind is disciplined, single-minded, and intent on doing what is right in the face of all external distraction. Marcus's writings were a constant reminder to himself that the true path to tranquility and inner peace comes from focusing on what is within his control, his thoughts, actions, and responses to external stimuli. The key here is recognizing that distractions, while they may seem harmless or even enjoyable in the moment, slowly erode the foundation of your growth. Whether it's checking social media every few minutes, allowing your thoughts to wander aimlessly, or spending hours on entertainment that brings no real value, these distractions siphon off the energy, mental clarity, and time that are needed to pursue your true purpose. What may appear as minor interruptions compound over time, forming a pattern of wasted effort that leads to stagnation and frustration. The modern world glorifies busyness. It elevates multitasking and the constant juggling of tasks, even if those tasks are irrelevant to your long-term goals. People wear their lack of focus as a badge of honor, boasting about how many projects they're juggling, how little time they spend resting, and how quickly they can move from one thing to another. But in truth, this constant state of busyness is nothing more than a distraction from what truly matters. It is the very antithesis of deep, focused work, the kind of work that leads to genuine growth and mastery. In the realm of personal growth, distractions are like weeds in a garden. If you don't actively remove them, they take over, suffocating the plants that are meant to thrive. Every distraction, no matter how trivial it seems, pulls you away from your deeper purpose. For instance, consider the time spent scrolling through an endless stream of social media posts. It may seem harmless at first, but over time it erodes your ability to concentrate, reduces your capacity for deep thinking, and disrupts your inner peace. The time that could have been spent reading, journaling, meditating, or working toward a personal goal is instead squandered on fleeting pleasures that add little to your overall well-being or progress. When we're distracted, we also weaken our ability to focus on what's truly important in life. We become so engrossed in the noise of external events that we lose sight of our internal compass. Our purpose becomes blurred, and we begin to react to life instead of consciously shaping our experiences. Stoicism teaches us that external events, whether good or bad, are not as important as how we respond to them. By allowing ourselves to be constantly distracted by things outside our control, we forfeit the power to respond in a rational, focused, and intentional manner. A crucial step in cultivating the 1000% growth mindset is learning to view distractions as enemies, not simply as minor inconveniences. Every distraction steals a piece of your time, energy, and focus, all of which are finite resources. The time you spend on distractions could be used to pursue meaningful work. Whether it's advancing your career, nurturing relationships, improving your health, or deepening your self-awareness, time spent distracted is time spent in the service of things that ultimately do not serve your growth. To begin viewing distractions as the enemy of growth, you must first become hyper-aware of the distractions in your life. It's easy to think that we are productive when we are constantly occupied, but this is often just an illusion. Many of us fill our days with seemingly important tasks, but if we look closely, we'll realize that a lot of what we do has little impact on our long-term development. Start by identifying these time wasters. Mindless scrolling on your phone, watching television for hours without a purpose, engaging in endless small talk, or worrying about things outside of your control. These distractions, while they may offer short-term relief or entertainment, ultimately divert you from your true path. Once you've identified these distractions, take immediate action to remove them. For instance, you can limit your screen time, set strict boundaries around work and rest, and prioritize tasks that align with your personal values and long-term goals. By actively eliminating distractions, you create more space for deep, focused work. This may involve setting aside specific times during the day for focused activities, whether it's a block of time for reading, a period for deep work on a project, or dedicated moments for introspection or meditation. The key is to create an environment where distractions are minimized, allowing you to direct your full attention toward what truly matters. Another powerful way to combat distractions is by practicing mindfulness. By cultivating an awareness of the present moment, you learn to recognize when your mind begins to wander, or when you're pulled into distractions. This awareness allows you to gently bring your focus back to the task at hand, whether that's studying, working, or simply being present in a conversation. Mindfulness helps to train your mind to resist distractions, enabling you to stay grounded in the here and now, where real growth happens. The idea of viewing distractions as enemies also involves adopting a mindset of discipline and commitment. Success, whether in personal development or any other area, requires relentless focus. This means staying committed to your purpose, even when distractions arise. It's about cultivating the strength to say no to things that don't serve your greater good, and yes to the tasks, activities, and habits that propel you forward. The more you practice this discipline, the more you will see tangible results in your personal and professional life. Ultimately, distractions are not just external forces. They are often reflections of deeper internal struggles. The desire to procrastinate, to seek comfort, to avoid difficult tasks, or to indulge in distractions is rooted in fear or a lack of clarity about one's purpose. By confronting distractions head-on and cultivating the discipline to stay focused, you begin to break free from these internal barriers. You learn to value your time and energy as precious resources and use them wisely. This focus on what truly matters is what enables you to experience exponential growth in all areas of your life. In the end, distractions are one of the greatest obstacles to achieving your highest potential. By viewing them as the enemies they truly are, you take an important step toward reclaiming your focus, your time, and your growth. Remember, the key to a life of meaning and fulfillment is not to be constantly busy or reactive, but to be intentional, focused, and committed to the work that matters most. End quote. As you clear away distractions, you create space for the kind of growth that will transform your life. Step 9. Value depth over speed in all things. In today's world, speed is often seen as synonymous with progress. We are told to rush through tasks, complete goals quickly, and move on to the next challenge without pause. But Stoicism, with its emphasis on mindful living, urges us to reject this mindset. While our society glorifies speed and immediate results, true growth and mastery come from the deliberate, slow cultivation of knowledge, skills, and relationships. The notion of depth, investing time and attention in a single pursuit, can seem counterintuitive in a culture that rewards rapid success. However, Stoic principles remind us that to achieve meaningful success and personal transformation, we must value depth over speed. To understand why depth is more valuable than speed, we need to look at the consequences of rushing through life. When we prioritize speed, we often sacrifice quality. Whether it's the haste to finish a project, a desire to climb the career ladder as quickly as possible, or a rush to master a new skill, speeding through these processes leaves us with only a surface-level understanding. The shallow engagement prevents us from truly understanding the subject, refining our technique, or developing deep expertise. At best, we may skim the surface, but at worst, we risk burnout or failure from not fully committing to the learning process. Speed might give us the illusion of progress, but it rarely provides the lasting rewards that depth offers. Stoicism teaches us that real wisdom, resilience, and growth come not from rushing, but from slowing down and deeply engaging with the present moment. By focusing on the process rather than the result, we begin to see each action, no matter how small, as an opportunity to refine our character and our understanding. For example, when learning a new skill, the Stoic way is to dedicate time and energy to the basics, to master the fundamentals before moving forward. Others might rush ahead, eager to see results quickly, but this often leads to superficial knowledge that is easily forgotten or undermined when challenges arise. The Stoic approach calls for mastery at every stage, even in the simplest of tasks, because it is through this mastery that we build lasting competence. Likewise, in relationships, the Stoic commitment to depth over speed transforms our connections with others. In a society that encourages fleeting interactions and shallow conversations, Stoicism urges us to engage more deeply with those around us. Rather than rushing through conversations or networking events, we should seek genuine understanding, practice empathy, and develop meaningful connections. Building these deeper relationships takes time, but they offer far more emotional fulfillment and stability than the rapid, transient bonds often formed in today's fast-pacing world. Embracing depth doesn't mean avoiding speed entirely. Rather, it means resisting the temptation to sacrifice quality for the sake of expediency. By focusing on depth, we acknowledge that true growth takes time and effort. Stoicism teaches us that our ability to remain focused on one thing at a time, resisting the urge to jump ahead or become distracted by the next shiny object, is crucial for long-term success. The process of growth is slow and deliberate, and the wisdom and skills we gain from engaging deeply with life will serve us far better in the long run than any quick fixes or shortcuts. In practical terms, valuing depth over speed means slowing down and dedicating ourselves fully to whatever task is at hand. Whether it's dedicating time to a project, cultivating a relationship, or even focusing on personal reflection, we should aim to give our full attention to the present moment, resisting the urge to rush through it. Taking the time to engage deeply with our work allows us to truly understand it, refine it, and contribute to it in meaningful ways. This shift in mindset allows us to focus not on completing tasks quickly, but on doing them thoroughly, with care and precision. Furthermore, valuing depth allows us to resist the external pressures to constantly perform or achieve at a fast pace. Our culture encourages us to always be busy, to constantly seek new goals and higher achievements, but Stoicism teaches us to find contentment and peace in our current state. By valuing depth over speed, we free ourselves from the endless race of competition and comparison, instead embracing a process of internal growth that leads to true fulfillment. In conclusion, valuing depth over speed is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. By embracing this principle, we shift our focus from achieving quick results to cultivating meaningful, long-lasting success. This practice requires patience, self-discipline, and the ability to resist the allure of immediate gratification. When we focus on depth, we build a solid foundation for growth, both personally and professionally, that will sustain us throughout our lives. In a world that demands speed, choosing depth is a powerful act of rebellion, a conscious decision to prioritize what truly matters and create lasting value in everything we do. Step 10. Live as though you are already being watched by your highest self. In a world where distractions are endless and the temptation to cut corners or take shortcuts is ever present, the idea of living as though we are constantly being observed by our highest self can seem like an idealistic or impossible standard. However, it is this very standard that holds the power to radically transform our lives, enabling us to rise above mediocrity and embrace a path of constant growth. and authenticity. To live as though we are being watched by the highest, most virtuous version of ourselves is not merely an exercise in self-control or performance. It is a commitment to integrity, self-mastery, and alignment with our deepest values. The Stoic philosophers were no strangers to the idea of self-examination and self-mastery. They encouraged their followers to cultivate virtues such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, not only because these virtues contribute to personal happiness and fulfillment, but because they are the traits that align us with our highest potential. By living with the knowledge that we are always accountable to our better selves, we elevate every decision, action, and thought to the highest level of excellence. This is not about pretending to be perfect or striving for unattainable ideals, but rather about aligning our actions with the highest version of our own potential. Imagine for a moment that your highest self, the person who embodies all of your most profound qualities, unclouded by ego or insecurity, fully aware of your true purpose, was watching you at all times. How would this change the way you behave? Would you still indulge in fleeting pleasures or procrastinate on your most important tasks? Would you allow yourself to react impulsively in moments of frustration or anger? Or would you take a step back, recognizing the opportunity to respond with patience and wisdom? The idea behind this step is that by living with the awareness that our highest self is always present, we choose to make decisions that align with our values even when no one else is watching. The reason for this exercise is simple. What you do when no one is watching is a reflection of your true character. It is easy to act with integrity when you are in a room full of people or when there is a clear reward for your actions. However, when no one is around to judge or reward you, that is when your true character is revealed. Living as though you are always being watched by your highest self means that you hold yourself to the highest standard regardless of external circumstances. This self-discipline not only strengthens your character but also builds your confidence and sense of inner peace, because you know that you are living authentically and in alignment with your deepest values. Stoicism emphasizes that virtue is its own reward. By striving to live in accordance with the best version of yourself, you are not seeking external praise or approval. Instead, you are cultivating a deep sense of satisfaction that arises from knowing you are acting in harmony with your truest nature. This shift in perspective allows you to move beyond the external validation that often drives people to seek success or recognition. You become less dependent on the opinions of others because you recognize that the highest form of approval comes from within, through the acknowledgement of your own virtues and the way you align your actions with your own highest potential. In practice, living as though you are always being watched by your highest self involves a continuous commitment to self-reflection and self-awareness. This is where Stoic practices such as journaling, meditation, and mindfulness come into play. Every evening, you might ask yourself, did I act today as the highest version of myself would have? Did I embody my virtues? Did I act with integrity, wisdom, and courage? By regularly engaging in these types of reflections, you strengthen your relationship with your highest self and ensure that your actions are always moving you toward personal growth. This process also involves continually questioning your motives and intentions. For instance, when faced with a decision, ask yourself, am I making this choice based on my highest values, or am I simply responding to external pressures, desires, or fears? This allows you to catch yourself before making decisions that do not align with your true nature. By checking in with yourself in this way, you begin to see where your weaknesses lie and where you might need to course correct. Another critical aspect of living as though you are being watched by your highest self is embracing the responsibility that comes with it. It is not just about avoiding the bad or choosing the right path when others are looking. It is also about accepting that we are fully responsible for our actions, our thoughts, and the impact we have on the world. This responsibility is not a burden. It is an empowering reminder that our choices matter and that we have the agency to shape our lives and influence others positively. The Stoics believed that we are the architects of our own character, and by constantly striving to live in accordance with our highest ideals, we are actively shaping the person we become. Living with this mindset does not mean that you will always get it right. It doesn't mean you will be free from mistakes, setbacks, or moments of weakness. In fact, the Stoics would argue that our mistakes are opportunities for growth, as they provide us with valuable lessons that push us closer to our highest potential. What matters is the commitment to learn from those moments and to continuously strive to be better. When you live as though you are being watched by your highest self, you cultivate an unwavering desire for self-improvement, because you understand that every action is an opportunity to grow and become a better version of yourself. In conclusion, living as though you are always being watched by your highest self is an incredibly powerful Stoic practice that serves as a constant reminder of the standards we hold for ourselves. It is an invitation to align our actions, thoughts, and decisions with our deepest values and virtues, regardless of external circumstances. By doing so, we cultivate integrity, self-mastery, and a sense of inner peace that is not reliant on the opinions of others. This mindset fosters an environment for profound personal growth, allowing us to become the best version of ourselves and live a life of purpose, meaning, and authenticity. Through this practice, we not only honor ourselves, but also inspire those around us to do the same. In the world of constant distractions, noise, and the chaos that surrounds us, the Stoic path is one of unparalleled clarity and growth. By focusing solely on yourself, not out of selfishness, but out of the recognition that the greatest power lies within, you unlock a force that can move mountains. The true secret of a growth mindset is the ability to silence the external and tune into the internal, to reshape your life not through grand gestures, but through the quiet, deliberate actions that take place behind the scenes. It is in the solitary moments, the seemingly small decisions, and the commitment to live by a higher standard that true transformation occurs. As you follow the Stoic rules to focus solely on yourself, you will find that your growth is exponential. It won't be the kind of growth that shouts for attention, but rather the kind that quietly overcomes every obstacle in its path. It's not about how loudly you speak, but about how deeply you live. It's not about how fast you move, but how carefully and steadily you advance with purpose. Remember, this path is not easy, but it is one that leads to genuine, unshakable strength. When you can control your inner world and prioritize your growth without the constant noise of external influences, you become unstoppable. Please like, share, and subscribe. Share this message with those who are ready to embark on a journey of self-mastery and growth. The world needs more individuals who are willing to turn inward, embrace silence, and make their lives a beacon of strength, clarity, and wisdom.